detail. So the key thing now to learn this is remember that as I lead you around, I will be driving the line. So every car behind me should drive the same line as the car in front. And everybody should stay as close together as possible so that we don't get separated out, okay? So let's go take a look at our track. This is the entrance point here. We don't ever go past that till you're told to. For now, we're coming with me, of course. And we're going to do an overview lap first, just showing you the layout. Then we'll do a little bit of a detailed lap, kind of point out some relevant points, and then probably one more lap before we go. Okay, so you can see we have a nice long straightaway. At the end of the straightaway, we enter into what is known as the tic-tac-toe complex. So you can see it goes right, it goes left, it goes right. So those three corners are tic-tac-toe. By the way, we're two separated here. Let's get tighter as a group. Car length or less, guys. The last car in line can't see me up here if you're too far back there. All right, this is the back straightaway. And then we have a little off-ramp here that leads you onto the skid pad. You will notice that the turn entering the skid pad, the entry part of the turn, has more grip than the exit. This is to punish those who turn in early or enter too fast. It is to reward those who go into a corner slow and then think fast because, the only way to get across that skid pad quickly is with a slow entry and a sharp entry. This turn you've seen, this area you've seen, because this is the same layout as our rat race we did yesterday. Most likely we'll approach the corner a little faster because it came from the skid pad versus just staying on Black Lake. And then you'll see that this sort of returns back the same way, but as we come down to the end of this, we're going to be going back into the spaghetti bowl track there, right? So you'll see we go into a very decreasing radius corner here, meaning it's going to continue to get tighter all the way through the corner, even to the exit. So this is another corner that punishes early apexes. If you get it right here, you'll find that you've got the slowest right at the apex, and you've got this nice straightening line on the exit. After that, we've got the bus stop section. Traditionally, this would be run as a bus stop chicane, but we don't quite run it that way for advanced M School. We actually make a right here into this very awkward hairpin. You'll see that it's one that you really do have to stretch the neck to look through because we've gone more than 180 degrees by the time you finish that corner. This is the area we traditionally call the chicane. You'll see though it ends up running as a long sweeping left-hand turn. And then we go into the corner we traditionally call Patience. We're not really running it as the Patience corner today, but that's its traditional name. This is the carousel. If you run it right, it ends up being sort of an increasing radius corner. The radius actually doesn't change, but if you run it right, you'll find the line continuously straightens the whole way through it. And then we enter into the S's. So the S's are three corners. We go right, we go left, we go right. Those are all three considered to be the S's. And at the conclusion of the S's, we come to the most important corner in the world. That is its name, must be said with a pause, otherwise it's talking about something else. This is the most important one because it leads onto the longest straightaway on our track. I guess that maybe the one in the Black Lake might be longer, but we still call this the most important one. Okay? So I'll do a little bit more detailed introduction this time around. So we're full throttle down the straight. I highly recommend being in manual, by the way. You'll be up at the top of third, maybe fourth. Braking at about the 2 marker as we approach the tic-tac-toe complex. And we'll bring it down to second by the end of the tic-tac-toe, right? This is a trail braking section where we're really heavily carrying the brake into the right-hander, releasing the more you steer, and we're going to hold the car to the left here enough that when we reach the apex to the right-hand side, we have the ability to open up the wheel. And keep in mind, you're the one who's going to be coaching yourself for the most part. There's only 2 of us who work at this, so we won't see every turn, every corner, every time. So there's a bit about you trying to critiquing what you're doing as you go along. I did see a couple of you with the wheel still held through the apex there that time, so next time fix it. Here, I would brake before you go down the hill. Keep in mind, downhill braking zones, only lengthening braking zones, right? And as you turn into this, notice, I'm going to go real slow here, notice that I'm going to make this a rather sharp turn. The reason I'm doing that is so that I have a straight line across the skid pad. This is going to be my best chance of putting the power down if I have the wheel pretty much straight. Okay, any cornering force that you bring onto the skid pad reduces your acceleration capability. And so this is a very good example of slow in, fast out. And if you do it well enough, you'll be rewarded with quite a bit of speed. There's another spot that I highly recommend that you're in that manual mode, because you start in second, short shift to third will help control the wheel spin and allow you to get the maximum acceleration across the skid pad. And then once you hit the sticky pavement, it's full throttle the rest of the way. Most likely we'll be up in the top of third, might hit fourth, and then we start our braking just around the 2 markers, maybe a little earlier is fine. Easing off the brake as we turn in. You should be familiar with this one by now. Now, by the way, this will be a DSC off exercise once we get a little further into it. First, we'll start off in M dynamic, and this turn is one of the best ones to play around with what the car does in a DSC off situation. So once you reach your apex there, if you've done everything correct, you should be able to rather aggressively pick up the power, and the car will naturally want to track out. If you're not finding the car forced out to the cones, you're not accelerating hard enough, right? So work on trying to get more exit speed out of that corner, in that case, if you're not using all the road. Zooming back down this direction, we've got some more braking references. You attack the brake somewhere around the 2 marker, and we're going into this decreasing radius corner. So we stay out kind of wide on the entry here, adding, steering slowly. Keep in mind, some of these cones out here may or may not be placed precisely. They're just some sort of reference to base what you did off of. When you reach the apex here, we start straightening the wheel and accelerate the car out to the right-hand side. Notice that it got quite a bit tighter on the exit there, so if you turn in early, you can see that's going to punish you rather well. Then we bring it back across the left-hand side, onto the brakes here before we enter into the bus stop, sort of threading the needle through the cones here. Try to get somewhat to the left. It doesn't have to be all the way left. And then from there, look over your right-hand shoulder and find the apex, right? You're going to be having to look almost 90 degrees to the right to be able to see where you want the car to go early enough. And try to hold it to the right-hand side until you reach the yellow cone. From there, we start straightening the wheel and accelerating. Nice steady throttle as we turn into the long left-hand turn. Nice and tight to the inside. Let it come up the track a bit.